I was a nurse for over 22 years in the field of psychiatry.
A supervisor said, "Oh, you're on the ECT rotation next week." And I said, "Oh, well, what do I do?"
The idea is that the shock will subdue the unwanted emotions. In fact, all it ended up with was brain damage.
I underwent electroshock therapy from the ages of 14 to 16.
And I can remember saying, "Why? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?"
If this is a hospital, why are you locking the doors?
This is about making money at the expense of vulnerable people in our society.
It's one of the most barbaric treatments that the world has ever known.
I don't remember anything anymore. It's too late.
If I ask you what is ECT or electroconvulsive therapy, what do you say?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I have no clue.
I don't know.
I don't know the acronym, but I'm assuming you're talking about like electroshock therapy.
I think I've seen it in movies.
It's a pretty bad reputation, and it's generally frowned upon nowadays.
Outdated. I don't think they really use that anymore.
It is considered an antiquated technique.
It's barbaric.
Brutal.
Some say it was extremely traumatizing.
Did you know they're still doing electroshock?
I really did not know that this was actually still happening.
Oh, they're still doing it? Why?
I can't believe that it's still allowed.
I thought it was against the law.
De todas as práticas desumanas da psiquiatria, uma das mais cruéis e bárbaras é a eletroconvulsoterapia.
People often ask, what is electroshock? And what it is electrocution. That's all it is. They don't call it electrocution. They call it electroconvulsive therapy because it has a magic three-letter acronym, ECT. And the one thing it isn't is therapy.
ECT involves applying electrodes to a patient's scalp and then passing an electrical current through the skull and the brain tissue in order to induce a seizure.
Os psiquiatras disparam até 460 volts de eletricidade pura através do crânio para criar deliberadamente uma convulsão que pode durar meia hora.
It is ultimately imparting large amounts of electricity, many times the voltage you would get even if you stuck your finger into a light socket.
De facto, a ECT usa voltagem suficiente para ter 2 elevadores a funcionar, conduzir um guindaste de expedição ou alimentar 5 luzes de estádio.
This is an electroconvulsive therapy machine, also called a shock machine. The purpose of this instrument is to run an electric current through the head of a patient. These are the 2 electrodes. The machine applies a voltage to these 2 electrodes, and that causes a current to flow through the patient's brain, and that constitutes the treatment. So if we set this dial to 100%, then this instrument is set to pass 3 billion electrons through the patient's head during one treatment.
As máquinas da ECT geram quase 430 vezes a corrente elétrica de uma arma de choque. As próprias máquinas são muito básicas. Elas puxam eletricidade para um condensador, um dispositivo de armazenamento de energia que permite que a máquina mantenha 2 vezes mais o que uma tomada de parede pode dar. Ao tocar um botão, os psiquiatras disparam esta enorme eletricidade de alta voltagem diretamente através do crânio. O cérebro, no entanto, é um instrumento delicado, constituído de aproximadamente 100 mil milhões de neurónios. Este interpreta e transmite sinais incontáveis, necessários para o controle do corpo, mais de 5 bilhões de sinais por segundo. O cérebro é impulsionado por menos de 0,2 de 1 volt de eletricidade. Isto é quase 8 vezes menos do que uma bateria de relógio. Compare isto com uma voltagem potencial disparada através do cérebro num único tratamento de choque. 2.300 vezes a eletricidade que o cérebro usa para funcionar. É tão poderoso como levar um murro na cara por um pugilista profissional.
And the outcome of that is it destroys brain cells. And the more brain cells you destroy, in theory, the better it is for the person. The biggest mystery of all is why on earth people think that putting bolts of electricity through people's heads is a good idea.
Os psiquiatras dão choques aos pacientes para criar o que eles chamam convulsões terapêuticas. Mas não existe tal coisa.
When we're in emergency departments and someone comes in with a seizure, that is a bona fide emergency, and we hop right to and try to stop the seizure immediately and its side effects and the things that it causes.
Uma convulsão é uma súbita descarga elétrica no cérebro que causa alterações no comportamento, sensação ou consciência. As convulsões podem ser o resultado de uma condição médica, como a epilepsia, ou causadas por forças exteriores.
There are seizures that are fever-induced, or if it's alcohol withdrawn, or if it is caused by hallucinogens or by cocaine or methamphetamine. Those things, when the patient stops using them, they improve.
Mas, na ECT, os psiquiatras produzem convulsões mais graves. Estas são chamadas estado de mal epilético e elas são causadas pela atividade elétrica anormal por todo o cérebro.
Okay, grand mal seizure is when you go unconscious and have a lot of spasmodic muscular contractions which can hurt you, and you can often lose control of your bladder and bowels.
They could stop breathing, they could bite their tongue, arch their back to such an extent as to cause a fracture of the spine. It's just a complete disorganization of neurologic function where a person has no control over their body.
The more seizures a person has, the more potential there is for cognitive decline, different neurologic dysfunctions, and more seizures.
Having recurrent seizures potentially reduces the lifespan of that individual. It has an impact on mortality.
Todos os anos, 45 mil americanos morrem de convulsões, tantos quanto em acidentes de carro.
You know, mainstream physicians go to great lengths to prevent seizures. Epilepsy, seizure disorder, is a medical problem that we give medication for in order to prevent any seizures, not just some seizures. The idea is to prevent seizures, to prevent brain damage, because it's recognized that seizure activity promotes brain damage.
Mas é isto que os médicos de choque afirmam que é terapêutico e eles causam um estado de mal epilético, de propósito.
I became part of the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, which is an international watchdog investigating psychiatric abuses, because I've had shock treatment. I know the damage that it caused. I know what damage it did, not just to me, but to my family who had to get me through that. You know, when I was very young, I felt depressed, but what I didn't know is that I actually had an underactive thyroid. I was sent to a psychiatrist by my GP, and he said, well, you need shock treatment. The shock is like a grenade going off in the body. The violence of this, it's like every nerve and every cell is being electrified and with such force. And you come out of it and you know that body is never going to be the same again. When I woke up, I was so disjointed. I didn't know where I was. I was in an incredible amount of pain. And I looked at this person standing next to my bed, and I didn't know who it was. I said, well, who are you? And she said, I'm your mother. Electroshock is torture being passed off as therapy. It is a betrayal.
Como é que os psiquiatras se safam com este tratamento bárbaro? A história deles está repleta disto. Na década de 1920, o psiquiatra Manfred Sackel afirmou que ele conseguia tratar mentalmente os doentes por meio de matar as células cerebrais más. Na realidade, ele criou convulsões prejudiciais ao cérebro usando insulina, que matou 5% de todos os pacientes e tornou os outros imbecis. O neuropsiquiatra húngaro Ladislas Beduna afirmou que podia expulsar a doença mental ao induzir convulsões prejudiciais ao cérebro com uma poderosa droga chamada metrazol. Mas isso também falhou.
Since its inception, psychiatry has really had 4 modalities of treatment that they recircle over and over again. Cut it, burn it, drug it, shock it to the human mind. So when one of their treatments fails, they use it to promote the next one.
Na esteira dos danos causados pelo metrazol, os psiquiatras viraram-se para a lobotomia pré-frontal como a sua cura milagrosa mais recente. Ao usar picadores de gelo para destruir os cérebros dos seus pacientes, os psiquiatras criaram dezenas de milhares de vegetais humanos até que a oposição feroz os forçou a abandonar este procedimento monstruoso. Entretanto, eles já se tinham virado para uma nova descoberta: eletricidade.
Hugo Streletti wrote in his own documents that he was inspired to develop electroshock by his observation of pigs being led to slaughter. And he saw that the effect of shock on these pigs was to make them more docile and controllable, and it made them not even fight for their own survival.
Durante os próximos 2 anos, Streletti realizou experiências com eletrochoques numa variedade de animais.
Streletti progressed to taking homeless people off the street and subjecting them to electric shock.
De acordo com o próprio Streletti, a sua primeira vítima humana, um homem sem abrigo, suplicou-lhe que não lhe desse outro choque. O colega de Streletti, o psiquiatra Lothar Kalinowski, testemunhou os horrores desse primeiro procedimento, tal como a sua esposa recorda.
He came home for lunch, as white as a sheet, and said, "Today I saw something terrible." And he described the first electric shock treatment, and he ended with, "I never want to see this again."
Apesar dos danos óbvios que os psiquiatras causavam com choques elétricos, em breve tinham espalhado o procedimento lucrativo pela Europa e pelos Estados Unidos. Na década de 1940, os eletrochoques estavam em uso generalizado e na sua forma mais rudimentar.
The original idea was that you would invoke a convulsion. And of course, by definition, if you're having a convulsion, your body is jerking. The problem was that people's bodies were jerking so much, they were breaking their shoulders, they were breaking their necks, bones were being broken.
Mas isto não impediu os psiquiatras de comercializar este procedimento brutal ao público.
Many patients have been returned to their homes and jobs who might still be here if it were not for this helpful form of treatment.
ECT has been around since I was a medical student, and I graduated from medical school 60 years ago this year. I considered it, as a medical student, having observed a few of them, I guess the kindest thing I could say is barbarian. I thought it was truly one of the most obnoxious things I'd ever seen done to a human being. A huge percentage of these people have brain damage.
Na década de 1950, o dano cerebral que o eletrochoque causou tornou-se demasiado para ignorar. Então, os psiquiatras utilizaram-no a seu favor.
Experts like Walter Freeman would say that the reason that ECT works is because it causes brain damage.
Maybe it will be shown that a mentally ill patient can think more clearly and more constructively with less brain in actual operation.
E esse era o objetivo estabelecido: menos cérebro.
In the 1940s and the 1950s, it was very open in the medical literature that the way electroshock, quote, worked was by brain damage. And yet they went on to say that this was somehow going to end up being beneficial for the patient, when all it really ended up with was brain damage.
Este ângulo de marketing mudou abruptamente em 1975, quando o filme Voando sobre um Ninho de Cucos expôs a brutalidade.
The movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest forever changed the course of the public's perception of electroshock therapy because it was so accurately portrayed in the film. It was so obviously torture.
Com o choque finalmente sob o escrutínio público, as organizações de notícias começaram a documentar as perdas humanas.
Just like it's true that you can chemically control someone, yes, you can electrically shock someone out of their so-called crazy mind, but you don't shock them back into their right mind, you shock them into a shocked mind.
Até mesmo o reconhecido avô do eletrochoque nos Estados Unidos reconheceu o dano que isto causa.
The principal complications of ECT are death, brain damage, memory impairment, and spontaneous seizures.
Gonna do another one, Paul? I think so. Geez, these are short seizures.
Perante a indignação pública, os psiquiatras surgiram com uma nova cura milagrosa: as drogas psicotrópicas. Mas também se comprovou que estas eram ineficazes e perigosas e equivaliam a uma lobotomia química. Os psiquiatras tinham uma resposta: reciclar e reembalar eletrochoque.
Electroshock was so abhorrent to the American public that psychiatry came up with a PR campaign to change its name to electroconvulsive therapy. But it is not therapy. It has never been therapy.
Para cobrir os danos, os médicos de choque adicionam anestesia e agentes paralisantes para suprimir as convulsões dos seus pacientes. Eles comercializam ECT como moderno e ainda o fazem hoje em dia.
Well, electroconvulsive therapy, or ECT today, is nothing like what you've seen in the movies. It's a modern medical procedure.
Modern ECT is a lot better than old-fashioned ECT.
It doesn't look at all barbaric now.
Mas sob o jogo de vendas, o eletrochoque é tão brutal como sempre foi. E o resultado permanece o mesmo: um estado de mal epilético e danos cerebrais. A única coisa que mudou foi o marketing.
I was a psychiatric nurse for 22 years, and I worked at a facility that did ECTs on adults. I became a whistleblower because I saw things that were being done to patients that were wrong, were unlawful, unethical. We used to tell our patients who would go in for ECT, things are not the same as they used to be back in the 1950s. And at the consultation, we would give out these videos called Shock. And our overall pitch to patients was, we don't know how it works. We just know that it does. We would compare it to rebooting a computer. The patients were led to believe this was somehow or another a miracle. And it wasn't a miracle. I didn't see any miracles, and I was in the business.
Negócio em que as máquinas da ECT sempre criaram danos cerebrais.
Here we have two electroconvulsive therapy machines. This one is from the 1940s, and this one is a much more modern machine from the 2000s. They both have the same potential to do damage to the brain by running large amounts of electricity through the brain cells with the risk that cells will be damaged or killed.
No entanto, os vídeos promocionais da ECT mostram os psiquiatras a dizer exatamente o oposto.
ECT is the gold standard treatment for that type of depression. It's a small amount of current. It's nothing like what's in the outlet at home, okay?
Isto é uma mentira típica e amplamente promovida. Ao contrário das máquinas da ECT, as tomadas não foram concebidas para dar choques às pessoas. Nos Estados Unidos, estas têm fusíveis de segurança que cortam a corrente a 6 milésimos de 1 ampere, uma unidade de medida de força de uma corrente elétrica. As máquinas da ECT modernas, no entanto, passam entre 800 a 900 milésimos de 1 ampere, até 150 vezes o limite legal de proteção contra a eletrocução. E isso é o que passa através das cabeças dos pacientes da ECT.
I was only 24 years old, and I didn't have anything except what you call the baby blues. My hormones were completely messed up after having a child. My husband was told that the best way to handle this was take me to a psychiatrist. And the next thing I know, they have me in a hospital, and they shocked me. And you would just wake up not knowing where you are or how you got there. And they would send me back, and they would just continue to do this over and over and over and over again. You just got shocked whether you wanted to be shocked or not. They just have to keep hitting your head with that hammer. They gave me 28 shock treatments. They took my soul, my mind, my intellect, my emotions. They put electricity to it. They ran it through my head and literally raped my soul.
A reembalagem da ECT moderna vem com mais perigos do que apenas a eletricidade.
The drug they use as a relaxant in the US before you receive electroshock is also the drug they use for lethal injections.
Esta droga é chamada succinilcolina. Paralisa todos os músculos do corpo, exceto o coração. Devido à sua eficácia em parar a respiração, é uma droga regularmente usada na execução de presos condenados à morte. Os psiquiatras usam-na para a eletroconvulsoterapia.
The same drug that's used to kill the person in the execution by paralyzing his breathing also paralyzes his breathing during the shock treatment, which is why the anesthesiologist actually has to ventilate the patient during the procedure. Same drug, same effect.
Modern electroshock is being given under sterile conditions in a regular operating room, looking very much like a regular medical operation, and it's all much more acceptable to anybody who would observe it. In fact, the literature shows that electroshock given under general anesthesia may even be more brain damaging than electroshock as it was given before.
A razão? A anestesia e drogas paralisantes, de facto, elevam o limiar convulsivo, requerendo uma maior intensidade de corrente elétrica para produzir uma convulsão. E quanto mais tratamentos da ECT um paciente recebe, mais alto o seu limiar. Assim, os psiquiatras aumentam cada vez mais a eletricidade. Isto causa dano cerebral, quer o paciente esteja sob o efeito de sedativos ou não.
When you give a shock treatment and you give the anesthesia, it does nothing to protect their brain. So you can only protect their body while you're destroying their mind.
It's like this. If you are awake and get hit with a baseball bat, it's obvious that we would feel a lot of pain. But if you're unconscious and get hit with a baseball bat, your body goes through that same trauma. So why are we acting as if in our society that the body doesn't go through trauma just because somebody is conscious or not conscious?
Os primeiros médicos usavam 80 volts de eletricidade. É minúsculo comparado com as máquinas da ECT de hoje em dia. De facto, um fabricante de máquinas recomenda que os psiquiatras aumentem a dose de eletricidade até 6 vezes mais do que o necessário para produzir uma convulsão.
We have here a Spectrum 4000 ECT machine, which is a modern device. It's connected to 2 resistors here, which is typical of the resistance that a patient's head would present to an ECT machine. I'm going to hit the treat button, and we'll be able to see if there's any temperature rise using the heat gun I'll press the treat button. 112, 118, 120. So, we see that the current that the ECT machine forced through these resistors caused them to heat up from approximately 75 degrees to 120 degrees. The cells can get too hot, they can be damaged, or even die.
If you look at the MRI of their brain, they have areas that have disappeared. They're wasting away, just like somebody with Alzheimer's.
É o resultado de ser atingido com uma corrente 450 vezes mais forte que a de um bastão de choque para o gado. Mas para muitos, o dano é muito mais do que físico.
Every time I look in the mirror, I try to wonder who I am. You know, just try to kind of put the pieces together of who I used to be. I started an antidepressant, and then it was just multiple cocktails of drugs, of antipsychotics, antidepressants, anti-anxiety pills, sleeping medication, stimulants. And I just deemed treatment resistant. And then at 21, I was given electroshock. I went through a neurocognitive testing 6 months after, and I lost approximately about 50 points of IQ. My IQ is measured at 78, which I think that 75 is rendered mentally retarded. It's a constant identity crisis that I deal with. I do consider shock treatment torture because it damaged me physically and mentally in every way, and it's just continue. It's like every day I'm reliving the shock because I don't know who I am. They say that it's safe and effective, but you know, I think I'm living proof that it's not.
Os psiquiatras não estão na posição de afirmar que a ECT é segura ou eficaz, porque o seu conhecimento básico desta é muito deficiente.
Electrical engineers understand how electricity works, and biomedical engineers understand the effects that electric currents can have on human tissue. Psychiatrists, however, typically don't receive the kind of training to make them understand electricity, what it is, what it does, what it can do to the human body. So we have in this case an operator who is merely trained to set the knobs and push the buttons without understanding the ramifications of what he's doing.
Médico de choques examinado em tribunal quanto ao seu treino sobre eletricidade provou isso.
What is an amp?
What is an amp? You know, it's been a long time since high school physics, and I couldn't give you a scientific definition of what an amperage is.
Do you have a definition of a volt?
A volt. A volt might be the power at which an amperage is pushed through an electrical wire.
You're not quite sure what these terms mean, are you?
I'm not quite sure.
One of the settings that you put on your dials on your machine is hertz, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you know what the term hertz actually means?
I don't.
Do you tell your patients about your level of understanding of the resistance of the brain to the electricity you're sending through it?
No.
Do you think they might want to know before they lay their head down on the operating table to have you give them shock treatment?
No one's ever asked.
Antes do seu depoimento, o Dr. Joseph Johnson tinha dado mais de 1.800 tratamentos de choque. Mas o Dr. Johnson não é o único lamentavelmente ignorante dos princípios e termos básicos de eletricidade. O currículo em escolas de treino psiquiátrico contém pouco sobre o assunto. E os psiquiatras vão admitir que não sabem nada sobre como os seus chamados tratamentos funcionam.
Electroshock is as much art as science because how it works is still a mystery.
Do you know how it works, Jonathan?
I don't think anybody really knows how it works.
There's no specific answer to that question.
People don't understand why this works or how it works.
How does it work? Well, as a field, we are focusing on researching that question.
We don't really know, is what you're saying.
We don't have the complete answers. However, it's not a complete cure.
Como os psiquiatras se safam é outro mistério.
A cardiologist, orthopedic surgeons, other physicians in other specialties really just couldn't get away with using tools of their trades with knowing so little about it as shock doctors do about what they're doing.
E, no entanto, os psiquiatras safam-se sempre que dão este procedimento.
Psychiatrists will tell you that they don't know exactly how ECT works, but what they do know is that it causes brain damage, organ failure, it can kill someone, it can cause seizures. They do know that much, but they can't tell us how it actually works.
O psiquiatra de choque Richard Abrams, co-proprietário do fabricante da máquina da ECT Somatics, admitiu a sua própria ignorância sob juramento.
Do you have any understanding as to the mechanics of how ECT works?
I do not.
All right. Would you agree that that's the general state of the industry still today? That the practitioners of ECT don't have an understanding of how it works?
That's correct.
Este mesmo Richard Abrams escreveu o manual standard da ECT. Este mesmo psiquiatra, que admite não saber nada sobre como funciona a ECT, escreveu um manual que aparece ser científico e autoritário, enquanto fabrica máquinas da ECT e as vende por todo o mundo. Entretanto, os praticantes da ECT usam estas máquinas que agridem as suas vítimas com mais tensão do que uma impressora industrial.
They see that as their job. Give the patient the drugs and they push the red button and zap him. But they don't study the underlying science because there isn't any.
My personal experience as a psychiatry resident was I was doing a rotation. All of a sudden my supervisor says, "Oh, you're on the rotation for ECT next week." And I said, "Oh, well, what do I do?" I've had no training, no instruction whatsoever. I arrive at the room, I walk in, there's the anesthetist, there's the nurse, there's the equipment, the patient's wheeled in, and now I have to set the settings on the machine. So I look at the log and I say, oh, well, the last time this person had a treatment, the settings were this and this. So I adjust the dials, person gets treated. Next patient who comes in, it's their first course of ECT, the very first treatment. So there's nothing in the logbook. So then I go, I guess I'll just do halfway in between the last two patients. Set the dials, off we go. That's literally the experience I had. No supervision, no follow-up, nothing.
Até os médicos de choque, por muito tempo, não sabem quanta eletricidade produzirá uma convulsão num novo paciente. É apenas tentativa e erro. Charles Kellner, um psiquiatra proeminente da ECT, apresentou isto na televisão nacional.
Preparing the sites for the electrodes for the delivery of the stimulus.
Okay, Mark.
Okay, treated. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Still didn't get it?
No.
Got it. Okay. Now she's having a seizure. Yeah.
Half an hour after her seizure, Terry is in recovery.
Okay. Your treatment went really well. I want you to know that, okay?
The very next day, Terry is back.
Do you recognize me? No, I'm Dr. Kellner.
Infligir um paciente com 3 choques de dano cerebral de uma vez não é apenas uma agressão. A ECT danifica toda a gente que é submetida. Um dos apoiantes mais zelosos do choque, o psicólogo Harold Sackheim, explicou sob juramento.
Altered cognition is the most common side effect of ECT. That memory loss occurs, it's universal, and in some individuals it can be profound.
A cognição alterada não é um assunto insignificante. Isto significa um agravamento fundamental das maiores funções cerebrais, que controlam a consciência emocional, autocompreensão, discernimento e memória. E a perda da memória é a primeira coisa que as vítimas da ECT notam.
It wasn't until I was at Shoal Creek that I saw a psychiatrist. And little did I know, after I signed myself in freely, that I couldn't leave for 72 hours. I wouldn't leave my room. I couldn't be around other people. I was terrified, and every time I went for another treatment of ECT, I got more and more paranoid. My head was exploding for days. I couldn't do anything but fall on the bed and sleep for 16 hours or something. I'd have to write everything down and then remember where I wrote it. My family would tell me, look at your book. Look at your book. I had to carry this book around with me all the time. My first service dog I got because if I left the apartment to go check the mail, I would get lost. I couldn't remember the number of the apartment. I'd just wander around. When I applied for disability, I had to go to the office and take some kind of test. I couldn't tell them my name. I couldn't tell them where I lived. I couldn't tell them how to get to my house. I couldn't tell them the president. I couldn't tell them anything. And my older sister told me that they asked her, is she like this all the time? And she said, pretty much.
I spent 30 years working in the psychiatric system, principally as a clinical psychologist. And during that time, I saw numerous patients who'd received electroshock. I spoke with numerous psychiatrists who delivered electroshock. And it was really after that I became kind of intrigued as to what was going on and why were these people delivering it. And more to the point, why did so many of my patients have long-term memory problems? There's a thing called anterograde amnesia, which is you lose your memory for everything after the shock, so you don't create new memories. And then there's retrograde amnesia, which is you lose memories for things immediately before the shock.
There's only been a few studies done in the last 33 years on permanent amnesia over the long term, 6 months or greater. And what they found, when they look for it, they find it. But they tend just not to look for it.
They knew about permanent memory loss a long time ago, and they actually instructed the field to say that it wasn't permanent, that it wasn't long-term, to use words such as transient, words such as spotty, words such as temporary, to minimize these adverse events.
Mas fora das suas clínicas, os psiquiatras confessam abertamente que a perda de memória é elemento proeminente da ECT.
Clearly there are risks with ECT. That's been well established for a long time. Some people have regretted doing it because of memory impairment.
Memory loss occurs when patients get electroconvulsive therapy.
The amnesia problem with memory.
They have some memory problems that persist more than we'd like.
While someone's going through ECT, they have pretty profound memory loss.
Sometimes, they can impact the patient pretty severely.
It's like a little volcano inside the brain.
You get more bang for your buck with ECT. If you pardon the pun,
Mas os psiquiatras de choque raramente fazem tais confissões sinceras aos seus pacientes.
The industry has variously represented that ECT's benefits exceed its disadvantages. They don't deny that there are disadvantages to ECT, they minimize them. It's a sales pitch.
E é lançada pelas empresas de PR que fornecem temas de conversa a psiquiatras com treino mediático.
ECT is the fastest and most effective treatment that we have.
It's the most effective treatment that we have today for severe depression.
Single most effective treatment we have for depression.
It is the most effective
really effective for depression. It's more effective
is
than
more
medication.
effective than antidepressant
More effective than many of the psychotropic
ECT
medications.
remains number one.
More than medication, more than therapy, more than ketamine.
One of the most effective treatments for anything in medicine.
Mas as suas frases repetidas são inventadas, não são ciência.
Shock psychiatrists blame all kinds of adverse effects of ECT on the patient or their underlying mental condition. For example, memory loss or inability to make executive decisions are blamed on the person's underlying depression when it's actually an effect of the ECT.
Para além de infligir uma lesão na cabeça, a ECT pode causar danos por todo o corpo.
That's why when you get ECT, there's a crash cart there in case the heart goes into an abnormal rhythm. And if that happens, the doctors have that there in order to bring the person back to life.
Apesar de haver caso após caso com danos documentados causados pela ECT, os psiquiatras rejeitam estes relatórios como anedóticos. Eles também ignoram os seus próprios estudos que demonstram que não há nenhum valor na ECT.
Sham ECT is basically placebo control, where the person's wheeled into the room, they're put to sleep, electrodes are put on their head, buttons pushed, but there's no electricity. And so the patient doesn't know if they got real or sham. There's only 12 or 13 of those kind of studies ever. And when you pool them together, there is absolutely no evidence anywhere that people who've had ECT are better off 1 month later.
Mas aqueles que se submetem à verdadeira ECT frequentemente são apanhados no labirinto da indústria do choque.
Just like with psychiatric drugs and in the psych hospital, they keep coming back. We used to call them frequent flyers. They would be readmitted. We see the same patients coming in and out.
Mas os psiquiatras, como Sarah Lisenby, culpam o paciente pelas recaídas, em vez do facto do tratamento falhar.
Without a maintenance treatment, you can have rapid relapse, but with maintenance treatment, you can have sustained relapse prevention.
Can I ask you, Dr. Lisenby, what you think the minimum length of time is that is required to demonstrate an effect of the device?
Well, I guess I'm saying that I guess I'm trying to answer by analogy. ECT is an effective intervention without any form of relapse prevention. Patients will relapse very quickly.
Os factos sobre aquilo a que os psiquiatras chamam recaída são os seguintes. O trauma cerebral causado pela ECT é significativo. É equivalente à força de se deixar cair um bloco de 18 quilos a 2 metros de altura na cabeça da pessoa. Para curar estes danos catastróficos, o cérebro libera químicos que causam uma sensação de euforia. Mas isto dissipa-se rapidamente e os problemas da pessoa retornam, muitas vezes, com grande intensidade. E quando isso acontece, os psiquiatras prescrevem mais ECT. Chamam-lhe manutenção, continuação ou reforço da ECT.
The nature of depression is that it is usually a relapsing illness.
Regular recurring ECT treatments may be needed.
Many people often go on to get what's called maintenance. Ongoing maintenance therapy is provided.
And then you need another 10 ECT.
This is going to be a repeated pattern of these people are going to be on courses of treatment that will last for the rest of their lives.
And, you know, the average today is about 35 treatments of shock every year. And of course it doesn't work, it just makes them worse and it damages.
Os psiquiatras e fabricantes da máquina da ECT, Richard Abrams e Conrad Swartz, admitiram esta falta de resultados numa carta para a FDA. Não é surpreendente que as avaliações realizadas semanas ou meses após a completação do ciclo de tratamento breve e intenso da ECT normalmente não conseguiam demonstrar nenhuma vantagem significativa quanto à ECT. A ECT não só causa danos cerebrais e destrói a função do corpo, como também pode ser fatal.
It can make people suicidal, either just contemplating suicide or actually going out and taking their lives.
The man who left an indelible impression on English literature is dead. Ernest Hemingway died of a self-inflicted wound at his Ketchum, Idaho home.
O autor vencedor do Prémio Nobel Ernest Hemingway cometeu suicídio pouco tempo depois de ter sido sujeito a uma série de choques elétricos. Antes da sua morte, ele disse: "Qual é o propósito de me arruinarem a minha cabeça e apagarem a minha memória, que são o meu capital, e de me levarem à falência? Era uma cura brilhante, mas perdemos o paciente."
And we know that by doing ECT, the suicide rate. You're 13 times more likely to commit suicide if you do the ECT than if you had never done it.
I was bullied at school, being abused at home. So then, the doctor tells me, well, we want to try a new treatment with you. She's like, we call it ECT. I was 17 years old when I received ECT for the first time. Here I am, I'm a scrawny 110-pound kid, and you got these guys that are like ex-military UFC-looking fighters just grab me, throw me in a room, and stab me with an injection, putting leather restraints on my arms. Then all I remember is waking up in my room. My head felt like it was on fire. It was like the worst headache I've ever had. And then I started panicking because I didn't know who I was. I don't remember my name. I don't remember anything. I don't remember what happened the day before. It was, I didn't remember anything at all. When I came back, I wasn't used to my home, my neighborhood, nothing. And the next 4 years are blank. And it got to the point where I got fed up with it. So I took like half of my Prozac and I just, put it in my mouth, put myself like a self-induced coma. I remember I was just sitting in my bed all day, cutting myself, trying drowning myself, hanging myself, thinking of ways I could end my life, putting a plastic bag around my head, tying it, going under my blankets, just wait to die already. Even to this day, I'm still suicidal. I mean, if you don't care about your memories or your life or anything like that, oh yeah, go ahead, do it. If you love pain, you love headaches and all that, yeah, go do it. But, if you want to remember your life, you want to remember your friends and all the good times, yeah, don't do it.
One of the dangers of ECT is death. That's known. It's actually reported in MedWatch reports in the FDA. You had a death that occurred to a patient just hours after they received ECT. So, does ECT cause death? Yes, it does.
Researchers at Brown University looked at the effect of ECT in the elderly. They looked at depressed elderly patients who were given ECT and compared them to depressed elderly patients who got usual medical treatment. And they found that the death rate after just 1 year among the ECT recipients was 27%, compared to an over 96% survival rate among the people who were treated without electric shock.
Por outras palavras, idosos que receberam ECT morreram 6 vezes mais depressa do que aqueles que não a receberam.
So one of the demonstrations I like to do with ECT is show the difference in the amount of electricity based on the age. So if a person is 20 years old and you do the electric shock, this is how long it is. If a person is 70 years old, this is the length. So the longer the electric shock is based on how old you are.
So 2/3 of the recipients of electroshock are women. Something like 3/4 of them are over the age of 60. I think the oldest person to receive electroshock was 104.
A morte prematura não está limitada aos idosos. Um grande estudo de mais de 3.000 pacientes da ECT descobriu que os que receberam ECT de todas as idades sofreram um aumento na taxa de mortalidade, fosse qual fosse a causa. Até a Associação Psiquiátrica Americana relata que a ECT mata. No entanto, dizem que é apenas 1 em 10.000 pacientes. Uma suposição feita por Richard Abrams, o psiquiatra que fabrica e vende máquinas de ECT. Os números reais. O estado do Texas relata que 1 em cada 350 pacientes morre dentro de 2 semanas depois de receber ECT. Isto é 50 vezes mais do que o índice de homicídios na América e 30 vezes mais do que a afirmação da ABA. Mesmo quando o paciente recusa a ECT, na maioria dos lugares no mundo, ele ainda não está seguro.
So if a person determines, I don't want ECT, The psychiatrist can actually go to a judge who can determine that he's not competent to make his own medical decisions and override his own decision about what he wants done to himself and his body, and actually deliver him electroconvulsive therapy against his will.
I was assigned to a psychiatrist who was very aggressive in his manner in trying to get me to agree to do ECT. You know, I was skeptical and I said, no, I don't want to do it. The psychiatrist pretty much threatened me. He said that if I don't agree to it, then they can get a court order. My family actually sided with me. They said that they shouldn't do this to me against my wishes. Basically, all the doctors said that I needed to have ECT and that I was not in my right mind to refuse. The probate court judge agreed with them and he issued the court order, and that was how they started the forced ECT on me. I was pretty much tortured. I was being forced to have this treatment. I didn't like it, I didn't want it. And when I was honest with the doctors about how it affected me and I told them, they just interpreted that as part of my depression. I realized that the only way to stop this was to start lying, so that's what I did. What was done to me was really, frankly, evil. It's a barbaric treatment, and that it shouldn't be done to people against their will like it was done to me.
With psychiatry, like most of their treatments, these are frequently given without consent of the patient because it is the only quote-unquote medical field where their authority supersedes your rights, an individual's rights to consent to treatment.
If it breaks their skin like an injection, or if it's a drug that you feed into them one way or another, or if it's electroshock therapy, that is violating a person's sovereignty over his own body. A person has a right to their own body. They have a right not to be violated.
O relator especial das Nações Unidas para a tortura é muito claro na sua condenação da ECT coerciva.
Against your will, electroshock therapy is, in my opinion, absolutely prohibited. I have seen so many persons who have been subjected to electroshocks in order to extract a confession or information, etc. And it's one of the worst feelings of pain you can imagine if this electric current is really runs through your body. So it's the contractions. It might even lead to death. In my opinion, they are torture.
E alguns dos usos antigos da ECT eram literalmente tortura. Durante a era nazi, os psiquiatras alemães administraram séries letais da ECT a pacientes mentais que eles consideravam inaptos para a vida. Na Guerra da Argélia dos anos 50, os psiquiatras deram eletrochoques aos prisioneiros antes de os questionarem. A CIA treinou os serviços de segurança marroquinos no uso de uma máquina de eletrochoque para interrogatórios. Os psiquiatras na União Soviética usavam o choque elétrico para punir dissidentes políticos que discordavam do partido.
In South Africa, ECT was used as a torturous method of treatment for a group that mental health considered to be animals, because they actually had the idea that if you were black, you couldn't feel pain.
One of the original ECT devices, which was actually manufactured in the UK, called the Page Russell, was used for torture in Arabic countries and was used on political prisoners. So how do you call something help or treatment when it's been used for torture?
Os psiquiatras também usam o choque elétrico no campo chamado controle da mente.
In a moment, we will examine the closest experimentation to brainwashing that we have uncovered.
O psiquiatra infame Ewen Cameron conduziu a experiências induzindo as pessoas a um sono profundo, semelhante a um coma, ao usar drogas e voltagens extremamente altas de eletrochoque e reduzindo-os a um estado infantil.
I thought this was the coldest and most impersonal treatment that anybody could give to anybody in the world.
Um defensor ávido do tratamento de Cameron era o psiquiatra australiano Harry Bailey.
Dr. Harry Bailey studied a treatment called deep sleep therapy, and it involved knocking a person unconscious with a cocktail of psychiatric drugs, usually barbiturates and sedative hypnotics. And while they were in that comatose state, they were given electroshock treatment, sometimes twice daily. The patients were dying. There were 48 deaths. Over 1,100 patients were subjected to this. They all had brain damage. They all had personality changes. They had blood clots. They were seriously damaged by this so-called treatment.
Tonight, why was deep sleep therapy ever allowed to happen at Chelmsford?
The analogy with the appalling medical experimentation by Nazi doctors is difficult to avoid.
Certainly the information that we gave to the Attorney General's Department showed clearly that very often patients were given electric shock treatment without their consent.
The question has remained ever since then, why hasn't the matter been satisfactorily resolved?
CCHR, along with the Chelmsford Victims Action Group, got local media. There were demonstrations on the steps of Parliament demanding a government inquiry into deep sleep treatment. And we worked with legislators and we agitated for reforms, and it actually produced some of the biggest reforms Australia's ever seen.
Good evening. There will be a royal commission into the controversial Chelmsford Hospital deep sleep treatment.
Let me tell you that this royal commission will get to the bottom of all of the abuses that have gone on in the system.
And it was through our investigations, through the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, working with patients and their families who had undergone this deep sleep treatment, we ended up having deep sleep treatment banned.
Agora, os psiquiatras adicionam como alvo de eletrochoque novos segmentos populacionais. Estão agora a dizer às mulheres grávidas que a ECT é segura para elas e para os seus filhos por nascer.
When a woman is pregnant, she shouldn't drink coffee, she's not supposed to smoke. There's a whole list of things that are bad for the baby when it's in the prenatal stage. However, pregnant women are getting electric shock, causing miscarriages.
It boggles the mind that something like this can be given to a woman who is growing a baby in her body, that of course the electricity is going to affect her and her unborn child.
As crianças são alvo crescente para os psiquiatras da ECT.
It's a horrible idea to give electroconvulsive therapy to children. We don't know what the long-term effects are, but it only makes sense that repeated seizures like that could cause cognitive difficulties, learning difficulties, and damage to the nervous system as it's developing.
If you're going to destroy an adult brain, just think what you could do with a child brain. You could do much more damage. Take away his whole future.
Há uma boa razão científica pela qual as crianças nunca devem ser submetidas à ECT.
In a fully matured brain, there are between 60 and 90 billion nerve cells. And when they die, they are not replaced. But in children, the brain is still developing. So if a cell is killed in an adult, that is one less brain cell the person has to operate with. But if a cell is killed in a child, then not only does he lose that cell, but he loses all the other cells that cell would have created during the development of the brain. So ECT is more dangerous to children even than it is to adults.
Right now in the United States, through Freedom of Information Act, CCHR has uncovered the fact that 16 states are currently electroshocking children and adolescents, and 5 of those states are electroshocking children aged 0 to 5.
Psychiatrists give electroshock to children all over the world. In Australia, children as young as 4 receive electroshock. In Turkey, 9-year-old children receive it explicitly as a punishment.
I'm an ex-law enforcement officer. Much milder things can land people in jail than to send a child through that type of trauma. We have a society where a parent can't even spank a child But psychiatrists can put 400 volts through the brain of a child.
Under the definition, it's abuse in no other way. You are inflicting harm to a child under the guise of treatment.
A Organização Mundial de Saúde publicou uma injunção forte que diz: não há indicações para o uso da ECT em menores e, portanto, isto deve ser proibido através da legislação. No entanto, a Presidente e o Diretor-Geral da Associação Psiquiátrica Americana apelaram formalmente ao chefe da FDA para que torne a ECT amplamente disponível para crianças e adolescentes de todas as idades. É uma campanha destinada aos mais indefesos, com pouca supervisão governamental.
One of the things that the marketing campaign does so brilliantly is to talk about electroshock as a treatment of last resort. That is what we call a lie. There are psychiatrists in the States who recommend electroshock for all sorts of things, including inscriptions like autism, ADHD, learning disability, and they recommend that that is the first treatment that people are given, not the last, not the end of the line.
Hoje em dia, na América, os regulamentos federais requerem que todos os fabricantes de dispositivos relatem os efeitos adversos da ECT. Mas os fabricantes de máquinas raramente cumprem isso.
So you have manufacturers that know about adverse events, that have logs of adverse events, that didn't report adverse events to the FDA. And the FDA has done very little to actually enforce those regulations.
E quando os relatam, demoraram uns 17 anos. E aqueles que são relatados muitas vezes são horríveis. Acidentes vasculares cerebrais, catatonia, um feto morto, a cabeça de um homem em fogo. E estes são apenas alguns.
My husband Jose Topete had ECT. They told us what a great thing it was and how it was going to help our family and help Jose. Jose had 23 treatments of ECT, and during the ECT treatments, he did not get better at any time. In fact, he had a breakdown at one time after the first week of ECT. We didn't realize that his whole memory was gone until after ECT was over. And one of the just terrible times was we live in a rural area that has a pond, and we have lots of frogs and bullfrogs. Well, we heard the frogs making a lot of racket, and Jose said, "What's that noise?" And we said, "Oh, it's just the frogs." And he said, "What's a frog?" He doesn't know his parents. He doesn't know his siblings. He has no memory of our marriage, the birth of his children, taking care of his family, his job. He was a California state tax auditor. He had no memory of what California tax law was. Everything was wiped out of his mind. His children, me, he didn't know who we were. At first I thought, okay, we'll be able to just teach him who we are and make him love us again. And that didn't work like that. It's been a real heartbreak for all of us.
Apesar de todos os danos que tem causado, a máquina da ECT nunca foi devidamente regulada.
What we have here is a basic electronic device. It generates pulses for the purpose of delivering an electric shock. There's nothing medical about it, it's just a pulse generator.
Esta máquina da ECT foi comprada online. Nenhuma licença, nenhumas verificações de antecedentes, nenhumas perguntas, apenas um cartão de crédito.
In 1976, the United States Food and Drug Administration was given authority by Congress to regulate devices such as these. This device, of course, was never tested by the FDA because it's too old. This one was used starting in the 1940s. When the FDA gained control over these devices, they didn't start regulating ECT devices because they were already in use. Any device that was already being used did not need to be tested, as long as it's substantially equivalent to the devices that were used when the FDA took control.
The FDA allowed it to be grandfathered in, meaning it didn't require any proof of efficacy or clinical trials for safety and efficacy. They just let it stay on the market.
Então agora, os psiquiatras tinham ambos os trunfos. Por um lado, alegaram que estas máquinas eram substancialmente equivalentes às da década de 1940, mas ao mesmo tempo comercializaram a ECT como moderna e nova e melhorada. Um engano transparente. Mas, em 1979, a FDA classificou a máquina da ECT como um dispositivo de classe 3, o que significa que é de alto risco e deve ser submetida a testes de segurança. A FDA deu aos fabricantes 3 anos para tentarem provar a segurança destas.
So, if ECT wants to claim safety and effectiveness, they should be showing by clinical studies that it's safe and effective. They haven't. And it isn't because they can't afford to. There's plenty of their own consultants that work for big league universities that get plenty of funding to do it. They choose not to because ECT is not effective.
Has Somatics ever conducted any studies to determine whether any brain injury could be caused by ECT?
Somatics has never conducted any studies of any kind. We're not in the business of doing studies of traumatic brain injury. We sell cymatrons.
Para evitar qualquer possibilidade de testes, os psiquiatras fizeram lobbies à FDA para reclassificar as máquinas como classe 2, uma categoria que inclui outros itens como seringas, lentes de contacto e preservativos.
There's nothing else in class 2 that causes brain damage, cardiac standstill, stroke, brain hemorrhage, seizures. It's really ridiculous for them to even be considered as class 2. The reason they want to put the ECT machine in class 2 is because it wouldn't have to be tested for safety or effectiveness.
Devido à indignação pública, a FDA agendou uma audiência para determinar a validade da reclassificação. Vários sobreviventes da ECT voaram para Washington para testemunhar.
I argued with a psychiatrist and he dumped me in the lockboard and shocked me 5 times. I became violent. I tore my nails off, dragged him under the door. And he said after 5 times, he said, sometimes they don't help you.
I had over 80 shock treatments. And yes, they called them maintenance treatments, but I don't remember my wedding day. I don't remember my husband putting a ring on my finger.
When I was given an IQ test a few months after the ECT and asked the population of the United States, I answered 1,000. When he asked me to guess again, I answered 2,000. I remember having no idea where to find the answer in my head.
A Comissão Consultiva concordou em grande medida que as máquinas da ECT deveriam permanecer na classe 3 e submeter-se aos testes de segurança. Mas a FDA, representada por Jeffrey Shuren e sua colega Malvina Eidelman, ignoraram as recomendações da Comissão e ampliaram o uso da máquina da ECT como um dispositivo classe 2.
3,000 submissions were sent into the Food and Drug Administration talking about the destructiveness of electroshock. The FDA and the APA and other psychiatrists want to make ECT more broadly available, despite the fact that all these people are saying no, despite tens of thousands of people saying electroshock is damaging, that it can actually kill you, that it destroys their life.
I recently started ECT treatments, electroconvulsive therapy. I was supposed to have one today, but I went ahead and canceled it. Because I'm stupid now. Or I'm definitely not as smart as I used to be. Spent a lot of time and money on education because I wanted to be smart. And I was smart. I don't remember anything anymore. Right now, this is my life. If it's not on this sheet, I'm not remembering. When it came to ECT, it was out of sheer desperation. And I didn't research it. And I just trusted. And now that I'm where I am, I don't have the brain capacity to research it. It's too late.
Os psiquiatras e os fabricantes da máquina da ECT estão muito conscientes dos danos que criam. Então, por que é que continuam a fazê-lo?
We look at the cost of manufacturing one of these machines. It has 3 of these transformers. They might be $40 a piece. And these parts probably could be collected for a total of about $50 or $60 for the components. The printed circuit board could probably be manufactured for less than $100 in quantity. All of these resistors are pennies a piece, and the integrated circuits are normally less than $1 a piece. So we see here a device that could be manufactured in quantity for between $500 and $1,000, including parts and labor.
E com os sistemas da ECT a serem vendidos por quase $20 mil, o lucro é enorme. Para além disso, os psiquiatras ganham benefícios muito chorudos pela prescrição da ECT, pois têm de estar presentes e assim têm de ser pagos por todas as sessões de eletrochoques.
It costs about $2,500 per session. So if you do the math, and let's just say for simple mathematics, the person has 10 sessions initially, that's $25,000.
Os custos de internamento são ainda mais lucrativos, recolhendo tanto como $120 mil por paciente.
We would start usually around 6 a.m. We would see up to 13 patients a day. It was almost like an assembly line mentality, kind of get them in, get them worked up, get the treatment, and get them out, get the next one in, get the treatment, do the recovery, get them out. It was a very lucrative business. Big money maker.
Os psiquiatras que praticam o eletrochoque lucram em média 2 vezes mais do que aqueles que não o fazem e podem alcançar este rendimento ao trabalhar apenas algumas horas por semana.
It's been calculated that in America, psychiatrists doing a relatively small amount of electroshock, possibly 20 sessions a week, will earn anything up to an additional $300,000 per year.
E com 100 mil americanos por ano a receber ECT, os psiquiatras criaram um império de choque de $5,4 mil milhões só nos Estados Unidos. Mais dinheiro do que o orçamento nacional de mais de metade dos países da Terra.
It has nothing to do with medicine. It has nothing to do with helping the patients. It's just a money machine.
Com tanto dinheiro a ser feito, a indústria de choque está repleta de conflitos de interesse. A cara destes conflitos, psicólogo e promotor ávido da ECT, Harold Sackheim.
Has any manufacturer of ECT devices ever given you money?
I've received reimbursements in honoraria.
How much money have you received?
$10,000, maybe $15,000, $20,000, $20,000, $25,000, $70,000.
Para além disso, Sackheim recebeu pelo menos $9 milhões em subsídios do governo para pesquisar a ECT. Um conflito de interesses que leva de volta ao Instituto Nacional de Saúde Mental, onde o seu diretor de pesquisa da ECT, o psiquiatra Matthew Rudolpher, supervisiona as suas subvenções. Não só Rudolpher tem estado a dar dinheiro às instituições da Harold Sackheim durante anos, mas a dupla escreveu um capítulo do manual da ECT. Também nesse instituto está a Sarah Lisenby. Ela tem tido laços financeiros com 10 fabricantes diferentes de dispositivos psiquiátricos. O seu mentor foi Harold Sackheim. Depois, há o Richard Weiner, da Associação Psiquiátrica Americana. Weiner era o psiquiatra principal da Task Force da APA, que recomendou tirar os danos cerebrais do formulário de consentimento da ECT da APA, com estas palavras: danos cerebrais não precisam de ser incluídos como um risco potencial. Weiner era também um consultor para os 2 principais fabricantes da máquina da ECT, Mecta e Somatics. Somatics pertence aos psiquiatras de choque Richard Abrams e Conrad Schwartz, que cobram até $20 mil por um sistema da ECT. O relatório sobre a ECT da Task Force da APA de Richard Weiner citou mais de 60 artigos de Abrams e todos os jogadores principais nesta teia emaranhada de corrupção são membros do conselho e editorial do jornal da ECT. Abrams, Schwartz, Lisenby, Weiner, Sackheim, Rudolpher, Kellner e Fink.
When you invite the foxes to watch the hen house and act like you're really guarding the place, well, it's really just a violation of public trust.
E as vidas das pessoas estão a ser destruídas.
I had problems before I had shock treatments, and I would say I have more problems now.
I didn't receive any help from the ECT that the psychiatrist gave me. It destroys you.
Shock treatment felt like torture to me. I say it's like torture. It felt like it destroyed my spirit.
It beat all the abuse I even experienced. It beat the rapings, the molestations. It beat everything because it did so much to me psychologically and physically.
Prior to ECT, I never thought about suicide. After the second round of ECT, I definitely was considering it.
ECT stands for electroconvulsive torture. Because obviously, it didn't help my sister at all.
Psychiatry destroyed my father because it destroyed his purpose, and he committed suicide in the end.
Is it the responsibility of the psychiatrist performing ECT to make sure that no harm comes to his patient?
The answer to that is no.
Só nesta última hora, os psiquiatras já administraram mais de 1000 choques. As suas vítimas totalizam 1 milhão de pessoas por todo o mundo, todos os anos. E com os médicos de choque a trabalhar arduamente para eliminar as restrições da ECT, ninguém está a salvo.
It's unconscionable, some of the things that I've seen, particularly as it pertains to very small children.
The way they've treated people is just unbelievable. I couldn't see treating my worst enemy that way.
Oh my God, I don't want that to happen to anybody. It brings tears to my eyes. It's frightening.
Just common sense will tell you that you don't need to put that on electricity to their brain. I'm adamantly opposed.
Só há uma solução para a ECT, um tratamento que é nada menos do que a eletrocução.
It's a complete travesty as a civilized society to do these type of torturous, barbaric procedures.
ECT has to be stopped. We cannot continue to do this to people. We have safe and effective treatments that are out there. We do not need ECT.
It's just cruel and inhumane to be able to send people through that type of torture.
We're standing up and saying that this experimental dosing with ECT cannot occur anymore.
It's just assault and battery.
It's more torture than it is a medical treatment.
It should be illegal.
ECT should be banned.
ECT should have been banned 50 years ago. The sooner the better.
isto pode ser feito. A ECT já foi total e parcialmente banida em vários estados e países por todo o mundo.
We got rid of the lobotomy because it was such an abhorrent image and it was so obviously a form of torture and assault. Electroshock is equally a form of torture and assault. We just haven't gotten rid of it yet. And we need to take action and require the FDA to ban this device, which has never been proven safe or effective.
This is an atrocity that should never have got as far as it has. It's just a mass experimentation, and the FDA does nothing. They need to be held accountable.
A ECT precisa de ser exposta como tortura e uma violação bárbara dos direitos humanos. O nosso futuro depende disso. Junte-se à Comissão dos Cidadãos para os Direitos Humanos ao nomear o eletrochoque pelo que é: um crime contra a humanidade. Se você ou alguém que conhece foi prejudicado pelo tratamento de choque ou se quer fazer algo acerca disso, entre em ação e fale. Contacte a CCHR.
Thank you.